Hello everybody! Today I want to talk about what inspires me as a minimalist. And by that I mean both inspires me to be a minimalist and inspires me to create and contribute things to this world that I am passionate about. Let's first start with the thing that brought me to minimalism, that inspired me to become a minimalist. And that is actually watching YouTube videos of other people that are minimalists. It was about 5 years ago where I just stumbled upon this word minimalism and started binge watching YouTube videos of people that lived this minimalist lifestyle. And the inspiring thing was actually not that they did that, but that I found a word to something I've always been wanting to do. And of course I wasn't a minimalist back then, but when I found this word, when I found all these people talking about minimalism, showing their minimalist lives, that was a huge inspiration and a huge motivation to actually tackle my wardrobe first and then all of my stuff to then move abroad to Germany where I live now. And so watching other YouTubers, watching YouTube videos on minimalism was just a huge inspiration, and it actually is until now. I watch sometimes more YouTube videos, sometimes less, and sometimes I don't even watch a minimalism YouTube videos for a month. But then I have another phase where I discover something, where I watch a huge amount of YouTube videos. And it actually inspires me, because what inspires me about that is that the people on YouTube usually are very honest and raw and just share their feelings, their thoughts and their decisions. And that is inspiring, because I do not have people in my surrounding, in my physical surrounding that are minimalists or that have these similar thoughts that I may be thinking at that. I am interested in what other people think about as well. By the way, if you're new here, my name is Leah. I upload videos twice a week about minimalism and sustainable living. If you're interested in these topics, consider subscribing to my YouTube channel. And now let's move on. Another thing that is a bit similar that always inspires me, not just when it comes to minimalism, but just when it comes to creating a life that I want to live, is books. I love reading travel books and just books where people share their stories of how they became the person they are now, or of an adventure, of a mindset shift or things like that. I love reading books where people share their journey to becoming this person, to becoming a minimalist, a full-time traveler, whatever the book is about. But I especially like subjects like traveling, minimalism, mindfulness, creating a dream life, being independent and free, and just creating a life that is sustainable and meaningful, but also makes them happy. Now moving on to the things in my everyday life that just inspire me. They inspire me to create YouTube videos, they inspire me to change something about my life, they inspire me to do certain things. And that is, for example, taking showers. When I'm in the shower, sometimes that's just a place where I do not occupy my mind with other thoughts, where I do not have to do something, but just stand there and wash myself. But that is actually a really inspiring place. I have so many great ideas when I'm in the shower, and I try to not shower for too long, but still the shower is a place where I have great ideas. So I think showering is something really inspirational for me, and it inspires me a lot. Another thing that's more like the opposite. Sometimes I get really inspired in moments where I have to do so many things, where I'm overwhelmed with the things that I need to do, and everything in me tries to procrastinate. And procrastinating itself can be super inspiring. But I have to say that is something that I do, and that is something that I realize that's almost a habit. But it's not something I would recommend. I don't think it's a good thing. I think it's important to acknowledge that sometimes things are hard and we want to procrastinate, but still it's very important that we get the things done that we need to do. Of course, if it's possible to just say, no, I actually do not want to do the thing, let's just not procrastinate, but take it off the to-do list, that's even better. But there are things like my bachelor thesis that I need to be doing, but there are so many things that seem so much more inspiring that I want to do. I want to change my whole apartment, I want to change my whole life, I want to learn so many things just in order to not have to write my bachelor thesis. And that is super inspiring, and I wanted to share it with you just to be real. But it's not something I'm proud of, or it's not something I want to have in my life in the future if possible, but I also don't really know how to declutter that, how to get rid of that habit of trying to procrastinate and then taking inspiration. And yeah, I sometimes somehow I have to like put off all of these inspirational thoughts and just put them somewhere where I can go back to them later, because it's just a coping mechanism. It's not a good thing to do, I think. Another thing that really inspires me is being outside, just being in nature. And I live in a city, so sometimes it's a bit hard to feel like I'm really in nature, because a boring park or a boring like a few trees and a bit of grass doesn't do it for me. I do want to be in nature. I do want to be able to not like listen to traffic sounds, but to hear birds and the wind in like some leaves, or to be in the mountains, to challenge myself, to see different landscapes that I'm used to seeing every day. So nature is something that really, really inspires me. And I'm so lucky that I have found a forest nearby where we can just go, like it's a 10-minute walk, and then we're at the beginning of the forest, and it's possible to walk in that forest. It's not a super huge forest, but it's like just, you can go on like a 1 hour to 2 hour walk and not just run in circles. You can spend some time in that forest, and it's super natural because they just left everything like it is. There are fallen trees, there are a ton of animals and birds, and so that is a really inspiring place for me as well as like other landscapes and nature in general. Another thing that is really inspiring is doing nothing. And I have to say, it doesn't happen often enough that I have time, or that I take time to just do nothing. But if it's possible, or if I just sometimes sit outside and eat outside on our balcony, or yeah, just find some time, sometimes even if I'm waiting for a bus or something like that, if I just don't reach for my phone and don't just occupy myself by scrolling through social media, doing nothing can be very inspirational. Of course, it doesn't work if I am always thinking like, oh, when is this bus gonna be here? Or I should be doing that. How am I figuring out this problem? But if I allow myself to just like let go of that and just really do nothing, and that it's okay to do nothing, to just be there and do nothing on purpose, kind of. And that can lead to a lot of inspiration, I think. That's again where ideas for these videos come up, or where I like think about problems I have in my life, or think about challenges and how to overcome them, or think about ways I want to shift my focus in my life to things that are even more important, or how I can have a better impact, if it's like in sustainable living, or in being a mom, or in like just my different areas of life. So doing nothing is something I can really recommend if you want to get inspired. Maybe it doesn't work for some people, or maybe if there's just an overwhelming amount of thoughts that kind of need to come out, or problems that are like fighting for your attention in your mind. That doesn't really work, I guess, because then it's just like, whoop, all these things come when you do nothing. It's maybe still worth doing it, because I don't think there's a point in just not thinking these thoughts and just avoiding thinking about problems. But maybe professional help would be a good decision there as well. So I do not want to recommend you to force yourself to meditate and do nothing if that's a really scary place. And then another thing I think a lot of people experience, but I experienced that as well, is doing sports. Now, unfortunately, since I do not have to go to university ever again, kind of, I can do everything from home, and I do not have a job I have to go to every day, sports is something that kind of doesn't happen in my life. I mean, of course I can prioritize it and just like do sports and just like, yeah, dress with running clothes and then go outside for a run, but that's not really happening somehow. And on one hand, I would like to do more sports, and on the other hand, it's just like, yeah, that's reality. It's not happening right now. And I still try to move my body as much as possible. We try to go on walks every few days at least. I bring my son to school, or pick him up at school, and that's like a 15-minute walk, and that's not enough. And I try to go everywhere by bike, and so I just try to make sure to incorporate as much movement as possible into my routines. But still, I also realized whenever I take the time, or whenever I go somewhere with somebody else, or whenever I do a yoga class, like with YouTube videos usually, or anything like that, that really makes me happy and inspires me so much. So the place where I get a lot of inspiration is actually when I'm on a run, when I'm hiking, for example, and have some time to myself, like not always talking to other people, or when I'm on my bike. To ride to my university, it takes about half an hour, and so that's enough time to just like get into that movement and start not thinking that much. And that is the situation where I get inspired. That is the situation where just ideas come, where I can think differently about things. There is a certain movement in my thoughts that couldn't be there when I'm stuck at home trying to solve the problem or the challenge, just sitting down in front of my computer or in front of a piece of paper or something like that. I'd really like to know what inspires you, what makes it possible for you to think about problems in a different way, or what makes you change your life, what makes you become a happier person, and what are like things to do that just make you happy, it doesn't even have to be an inspirational thought, but sometimes it's just an inspirational feeling, I think. And that already helps by like figuring out new things to do, or things that you want to change in your life, or just maybe incorporate that thing that makes you happy more into your everyday life. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you like this video. I will link you a video and a playlist right here, and I hope to see you next time. Bye!